What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we are back with round 3 of the Vault Tour from Germany. And we've got on the left Maximilian with Der Blutrot Gluckspils Yannick, a Shadow Sanctum Logos deck. And on the... Okay, it's in a different order here, but that's fine. And on the right, we've got C. Colton Stillahoom's Ambitious Emperor, played by Jakob. And that is a Brobnar Logos Shadows deck. Now, what is kind of cool, and we've got 2 decks that look really fun here. So on the left, we've got a deck. The Logos has double Wild Wormhole and Library Access, double Doc Bookton, so... Oh, and then Quixo the Adventurer. Lots of cards being drawn there, plus a Mother. And in the Sanctum, we've actually got a Horseman deck. Horseman of Death. When you play it, you return each Horseman creature from the discard pile to your hand. Horseman of Famine. When you play Fight or Reap, you destroy the least powerful creature. Horseman of Pestilence. When you play Fight or Reap, you deal 1 damage to each non-Horseman creature. And Horseman of War. When you play, for the remainder of the turn, each friendly creature can be used as if they were in the active house, but only to fight, not to reap. And then we've got, the Shadows is about what we would expect. There is a Too Much to Protect and an Effervescent Principle, so really good options for stopping your opponent reaping. On the right, we've got a Brobnar Logo Shadows deck. 3 Coward's End, really good at destroying undamaged creatures. So that's going to be quite nice to just getting all the horsemen out away. We've got Library Access with 2 copies of Mother in Logos. And we've got 4 Routine Job in Shadows. Routine Job steals an amber and then steals an extra one for each copy of Routine Job in your discard pile. So, yeah. That can steal you... Well, the first one steals 1, second 2, third 3, fourth 4. We often see kind of 2 or 3 Routine Job. Seeing 4 is not that common, so both of these decks really have things that, when you look at the deck list, they jump out. Like I say, 4 Routine Job jumps off the deck list, and we all know that Horseman jumps off the deck list. Although for a long time we've been asking whether Horsemen are good, and we've never really seen a Horseman deck doing really well in a tournament. So maybe this is it. Maybe Max, I'm going to call him Max, I'm sorry. Maximilian's just too much to say over and over again. Sorry, Maximilian, if calling you Max is annoying, I apologise. So, I think Max is here to prove us wrong. But remember, we're in 3-deck survival here. We are in. And that means that this might be deck number 1, which isn't the best deck. So, Max gets down a Shadow Self. And then Jakob goes down, he goes Brobnar. He gets a punch to get 3 damage onto that Shadow Self. And this is definitely the fastest we've seen players playing up to now. So it looks like a Library of Babel coming down. We've got a Ganymede Archivist. And we've got a Quixo the Adventurer. So we got some draw power on board. Library of Babel lets you draw an extra card per turn. So we got a couple cards discarded that we're not using there. And we have a Gauntlet of Command, an artifact that lets you ready and fight with a friendly creature. Jakob has not had the strongest start here. He's had 2 full turns, and he's managed 1 artifact and 1 amber and dealing 3 damage to a 9 power creature. It's not great. Now, we are in a Logos turn here for Max. He's used Library of Babel to draw an extra card. That's a pretty big advantage. Oh, Library Access. Okay. So that gets purged. It's gone for the rest of the game. Remember, there has been an errata. So he gone. And now every time Max plays a card this turn, he draws another card. So down goes a Doc Bookton. Now, he does have 2 Wild Wormhole, which... There's got to be more he can do there. Okay, we got double Reaping. Now, Quixo can draw a card when you fight, which is great on a Library Access turn, but... Oh, is that it? I'll be honest with you, that might be the most underwhelming Library Access turn I've ever seen. That was not a great Library Access turn. So we did see Routine Job coming down, stealing the Amber. We see a Nexus coming down that can use an artifact as if it were yours when you reap, which is really nice if your opponent's got a Library of Babel down, because now when Nexus reaps, you gain an Amber and you draw a card. having... I mean, that library access turn wasn't great, all right? Let's be clear about this. But Max has no amber, but he's got a really nice board, whereas Jakob, he's not really been able to get anything really going at all. You know, this is him after 3 turns, but he's still got 3 amber to Max's none. Oh, Speed Sigil. Now, this is very much a double-sided sword, a double-edged sword here. Also gets a silver tooth. Oh, that's upsetting. Wait, that's not Silvertooth, that's Dodger. Okay. When you fight, you steal an amber. Speed Sigil means that the first creature played each turn comes into play active, but that is both for yourself and your opponent. Can really hurt you. Now, we do see an upgrade coming down here. That is a Silent Dagger. When you reap, you deal 4 damage to a flank creature. So, Max, he's got 3 amber, he's getting going. Now we have a Mother coming down, comes down active because of the Speed Sigil. Remote access allows him to use Library of Babel to draw a card. And then he's also got himself down, a Novo, no, that's not Novo Archaeologist, that's a Valen Analyst. Logos really remind me of the game Mass Effect. That's maybe that's why I like logos so much. I see logos and I think Mass Effect. Let me know in the chat or in the comments if you're on YouTube if you're a fan of Mass Effect. I love those games. Never played Andromeda though. Maybe that's just me. It didn't review very well and I'm running out of time. I'm currently sessioning Persona 5 and loving it. But anyway, they're video games. Let's talk Keyforge. So, Jakob here, he's quietly built himself a good little turn. I mean, look, Max here, he's got the setup, but Jakob here, he's got 5 amber. Max has only got 3. Now, Max does have a lot of creatures down. So it's really... This is a hard game to peg right now. And we've had a few turns from each player, and we've just seen a bit of amber from Jakob, a couple of creatures from Max. I mean, Max is certainly setting himself up for success. Now, he's actually got 2 dodges down. So he can either go shadows or logos and start reaping here. Getting some stuff going on. Remember, Shadow Self cannot deal damage when fighting, but it can reap. So Max could either go shadows or logos here and just reap for 3 amber. If he so wished. That'd be a good way to start jumping ahead. Question is, what else does he have? And actually, with that Speed Sigil, he could play a logos or shadows creature and then actually go reaping for 4 amber. But after all that, he goes Sanctum anyway. Oh, nice. That was the harder they come. Purge a creature with 5 power or more. He gone. And there's actually 2 of those in his deck, so we can do that again. Gets you an amber bonus as well. A lot of the really... You notice this, a lot of the really specific action cards have amber bonuses, because if your opponent doesn't have a creature of 5 power or more, then that card actually does nothing. So it's really nice that you get the amber bonus. Even if you're not purging anything, you still get the amber bonus. So now we see Dodger fighting, stealing an amber. And then we see an upgrade coming down there. But, wait, is that Horsemen of Famine? Did he just discard Horsemen of Famine? Oh, yeah, because when you play it, you destroy the least powerful creature. His opponent has no creatures. That would not go too well. Shoulder armor, incidentally, if it's on a flank, +2 armor, +2 power. So, we've got Dodger here, fighting, stealing an amber. Now, routine job is going to steal 2 amber, or 3 amber. Apparently, that's the 3rd routine job now. Oh, Nerve Blast destroys Dodger and steals an amber. Jakob's just stolen all of Max's amber. It turns out having 4 routine job in your deck is pretty great. And right now, routine job is putting in the work well above the Horsemen. Right now, routine job is being a lot better than Horsemen. Oh, poor Max. Poor Max. And now Jakob's sitting there with 9 amber. Oh, Effervescent Principle. lose half your amber rounding down, so Jakob loses 4 amber there, no longer on check, will not be forging a key next turn. I mean, I did tell you Max has that, and he's got too much to protect. Oh, and down comes a Mobius scroll. Weirdly, the second time we've seen that on stream today. It's got an action whereby you archive it and 2 cards from your hand. Good for stashing cards in your archive. Quicksilver the Adventurer does 3 damage and draws a card. I'm sure most of you know this by now, but do note that Quicksilver the Adventurer, based on Brad Anders, the lead designer of the game. Doc Buckton draws a card, because it reaps. Mother goes down, so he gets to refill his hand to 1 more card at the end of the turn. We've got Ganymede Archivist. When you reap, you archive a card. So he's got to archive himself a card here. And he's actually built himself a really good line of creatures here. Oh, Wild Wormhole's coming down here as well. And he's playing Bat Drone. No. Bat Drone. When you fight, you steal an amber. Very much like Dodger. Now, Max is really setting himself up for victory here. He's doing a lot of good. Now, we just saw Blood Money placing 2 damage from 2 amber from the common supply on a creature. And then you can destroy it to get that amber, which is exactly what he's done. Placed it on the Bat Drone, took out the Bat Drone. Now, that's got to be one of his copies of Coward's End. Destroy each undamaged creature, gain 3 chains. That was Coward's End. Had to be done because, well, and Headhunter coming down here, and Gauntlet of Command lets you ready and fight with Headhunter, who will be taking out the Shadow Self. Remember, it has to be the Shadow Self because damage that would be done to Dodger here does get redirected to Shadow Self. And I was trying to find a moment to mention that Max had actually built up a line of Logos creatures and was actually using all of the skills. He was drawing cards with Doc Buckton and Quickso, archiving cards with Ganymede Archivist, etc. And then down comes Coward's End. Hey-ho, you can't win them all. War Drummer comes down, return each other friendly Robnar creature to your hand. But as long as they're exhausted anyway, you can just pick them up and put them straight back down again. Now, Max has probably... Well, I mean, look, this is Archon format. You're allowed to look at your opponent's deck list. You are not in Sealed, but you are in Archon, which is where you pick your deck. Sealed is where you get given a deck. So, frankly... Max knows that Jakob's got 4 copies of Routine Job. He's probably also seen that Jakob has only got 3 in the discard. So too much to protect steals all but 6 of your opponent's amber, which is 4. Does he have a way to get 1 more amber? Oh, he does. He's got Dodger on board. So if nothing else, Dodger can fight and steal an amber. That's awesome. So he's definitely going to be able to stop Jakob forging here. He's on a Shadow's turn. He can fight with Dodger, steal an amber. And I'll tell you what, Max has been behind all game in the amber racing. Jakob has been the dude who's been looking at forging a key, but Max has been able to do a really good job in stopping him. Now, what does he do here? Because War Drummer's out on board, as is Headhunter. And Headhunter, when you fight, you gain an amber. Now, is he reaping there? Okay. There we go. All right. Cool. So what he actually did then, that was a slightly convoluted way of doing things, but I like what he did. What he actually did there was he played down Nexus, which came into play active because of Speed Sigil. He then used his opponent's Gauntlet of Command to activate Dodger to fight and steal an amber. I was super confused for a minute why he would reap when he could fight and steal the amber to stop his opponent forging, but it's because I didn't know he had Nexus in his hand. He did know he had Nexus in his hand, so he could play it down and use it. He then also played a Lights Out just to get the creatures off his opponent's side of the board. So he was able to stop his opponent forging a key, which is absolutely huge. His opponent plays a Neurosiphon down there. If your opponent has more amber than you, steal one and draw a card. And he gets himself down. Now that is a Novu Archaeologist It's got an action card that lets you archive a card from your discard pile. Now he gets down Library of Babel and Mother, and ladies and gentlemen, there will be drawing cards. Oh, also the Howling Pit. Wait, yeah, it is a Howling Pit. It is an artifact. During their draw card step, each player refills their hand to one additional card. So it's like both players having a Mother on the field. But again, it's two-sided. So it's one of those, you've really got to decide if you need it more than your opponent. Now, given that Jakob is very chained, and has been for most of the game, you can see the 3 on top of his deck denoting 3 chains, which means for the next 3 turns he's drawing 1 fewer card, and you're really now at a situation where he's just got to get going here. He's got to stop this. He's got to stop his opponent. He doesn't want to, but he's got to. So he's got to have these more cards. He's got to increase his draw power. Now the good news is he's sitting there on 8 amber, which is lovely. The bad news is Max has forged his first key and is sitting there on 5 amber. Can Max find 1 more amber and therefore put himself in a position to forge a key next turn as well? I mean, the ideal situation here would be Max also stopping Jakob forging. But Jakob's got 8 amber, and we know he's played his effervescent principle. We know he's played his too much to protect. He's not gone through his deck. So I think it's fair to assume at this point. I mean, he's got stuff, but I don't think he's probably going to stop his opponent forging here. I think he's going to have to let Jakob forge his first key. Having said that, I can't see his hand. And that's one thing we always have to bear in mind when we are commentating these games. I can't look at the deck. I can't look at I can look at the deck list. I've got them on screen in front of me. But I can't look at the discard piles. I can't see their hands. I don't know, is the honest answer. I know a lot less than they do. So it looks like we got Reaping going on. And then Nexus is going to use Gauntlet of Command to ready and take out the Mother. Now that I did see coming this time round. So now we saw the Reaping from Dodger and then Nexus Reaping to use Gauntlet of Command to copy. And this is the kind of thing you need to do. And we do unfortunately see Jakob forging there. He had too much amber. This is what makes good players good. Max is looking at the board and he's going, look, my opponent's got a Gauntlet of Command now. So if I play my Nexus, I can take advantage. And now having his Dodger with a shoulder armor on is just giving him a huge advantage. That Gauntlet of Command has done way more for Max than it has done for Jakob. So, Dodger there takes out Silvertooth, steals an amber. Ooh, Mace's Asp as a man with many snakes. Also, happy Snake Day. It was a couple of days ago, but, you know, first stream we've done since then. Mace's Asp comes down. It's got poison, which means that, and it's got skirmish, so if it starts a fight, it will win the fight, and it will destroy whatever it fights because of poison, as long as it does some damage. And skirmish means it takes no damage back. I like Mace's Asp. Or Mace's Asp. You don't see it very often. It's not been in many decks that I've commentated, but it's still kind of cool. I like it. So, I'm going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. Jakob has turned this game around. He's got the amber, and he's got a key. They're on 1 key each. He's got 6 amber. His opponent's got 4, and he's got the battle. Oh, too much to protect comes down. That should steal a 2nd amber. Should it not? Am I being stupid? I think I might be being stupid. That's bait and switch. No, I am being stupid. I was being stupid. It is... Yeah, you either end up with as much amber as your opponent or 1 more, and I was remembering it wrong. But he still stole an amber. It was still alright. Bait and switch, of course, got that massive nerf a little while ago. It used to keep going. Now it only does it twice. So if your opponent's got 20 amber and you've got none, you used to be able to steal 10. If they got 21, you steal 11. But now you only steal 2 regardless. Up to 2. Now, the good news is, once again, we've got Reaping and then Nexus to use Gauntlet of Command to get Dodger to fight and steal Amber. Now, the good news is, and good news for Jakob, Max has now done that exact same trick so much that he's actually killed his own Dodger. Like, Dodger, and bearing in mind he had the shoulder armor to get the extra power. And the armor. I mean, when it's on a flank, +2 armor and +2 power, but he's actually done it so much, it's still gotten destroyed. Little bit harsh. So I believe that is a Sound the Horns. Discard cards on the top of your deck until you discard a Brobnar creature or run out of cards. If you discarded a Brobnar creature this way, put it into your hand. So he gets a Headhunter down, and he gets a Tireless Crowcag. Cannot reap, can only fight. But it can be used regardless of what your active house is. It's got 7 amber, but if your 7 power. But if your opponent ever has no creatures, Tireless Crowcag gets destroyed. In terms of kind of thematically and in terms of design, it's one of my favourite cards. Now, we did see Max actually just go and forge his second key, so I'm sitting here talking about Jakob turning it round. What we've actually got is just a really back and forth game. So Gorm of Orm comes down, it's got an Omni ability, sacrifice it to destroy an artifact. And as it stands at the moment, Max is in a good position, but Max is now in the racing part of the game. He wants to race for Amber. The problem is, he doesn't have the board. Jakob's got 2 Shadows, 2 Brobnar, 1 Logos creature out. Max has just got a single Shadows creature. He's not got the board to race Amber, and that's what you want to do when you go ahead. Now, Champion Anafiel does come down, takes out the Headhunter. Remember, it comes into play ready because of the Speed Sigil. We now see, we finally see a Horseman coming down, ladies and gentlemen. Took its time. That is Horseman of Death. Return each Horseman creature from your discard pile to your hand. He's now going to be able to play all of the Horseman creatures, so let's see if we can remember which is which as he plays them. Assuming he chooses to play them. Now, I mean, Horseman of Pestilence deals 1 damage to each non-Horseman creature, including your own. Horseman of War just lets you fight, and Horseman of Famine destroys the least powerful creature, so yeah. Now, that is Horseman of Pestilence, deal 1 damage to each non-Horseman creature. Got rid of the Urchin, and it does deal 1 damage to Nexus and 1 damage to Champion Anafiel as well. But, I mean, honestly, right, Max hasn't had to set up this game, not in terms of the battle line. So there is a strong argument, and it looks like that's what he's doing. Now he's playing Horseman of War, which just lets him fight with all his creatures, even if they're not of the active house. Now we see Horseman of Famine come down, destroy the least powerful creature. And essentially what he's ended up with is a board of Sanctum creatures. So next turn, he can go reap, and get 5 amber. Now he's potentially in a position to amber rush. And that's one of the things the Horsemen do. Even a lot of the time when you play the Horsemen, what happens is they all go together to be a board wipe. Library of Babel, drawing a card. And then after you wipe the board, you've got 4 creatures, your opponent has none. That can help. Now, Jakob here has forged his second key. He's played a Library Access. So what's he got? Okay, down comes Brain Eater. Now remember the rule in Keyforge. When your deck runs out, you shuffle your discard pile and it becomes your deck. But you do that when you would draw a card. Now in some other games where you recycle your deck, you do it the second you run out of cards. In Keyforge, the rule is you get a new deck, or your scrap pile becomes your deck when you would draw a card. If you run out of cards in your deck, you don't reshuffle your scrap pile to become your deck until you run out of cards. There we go. So, where are we to? I mean, Yakub's playing a lab work here, so he's trying to decide what to archive, and he's played a Neurosiphon, and he's in the middle of that library access turn. And when you've got the library access turn, you need to do as much stuff as possible. Now, the sad news is that Yakub doesn't have Wild Wormhole or Phase Shift in his deck. They are the two cards that really make the most of it. As it is, he's fighting with Brain Eater. And you draw a card if you destroy a creature, which is quite nice. But the problem is, Phase Shift, you play it, draw a card, then you can play a non-logos card, draw another card. Wild Wormhole, you play it, draw a card, then you play the top card of your deck, regardless of which house it is, and draw a card. They are the two cards in logos that really get you into a good position in terms of forging, in terms of getting yourself in a position to forge, in terms of board clearing, etc. When you don't have Phase Shift and Wild Wormhole, Library Access is still a good card, but you don't end up playing as many cards, and you don't end up playing any out-of-house cards, and it's not bad, but it's just not as good. So we do see one of the Horsemen taking out the Brain Eater there. We're getting some damage done to Tylus Crocag as well. Now, Max has forged his second key. Yakub isn't on check. So really, at this stage, it's just all coming down to who can forge the next key. Who's got something? Now, that was a blinding light that stuns each creature of a chosen house. He chose Brobnar. Again, it is not enemy creature, it is creature, so you've got to be careful. And there are two shared houses between these decks. Gorm of Orm takes down Library of Babel, so Yakub's not drawing extra cards on his logos turn. Really, Max needs some amber here. And as it stands at the moment, he's just not getting any. So, he's getting... Oh, here we go. Treble Reaping. That helps. Now, Bulwark comes down. Each of his neighbours gets +2 armour, and that goes back to what I was saying a minute ago. The advantage of playing the Horsemen is often you wipe board, but then you're left with the 4 Horsemen. And, I mean, look, it takes 6 amber to forge a key. So if you've got 4 creatures on board, and before you've done anything else, played any other cards, you've got the option to just gain 4 amber, that's a huge advantage. Virtuous Works, which is one of the best Sanctum cards we've had, does nothing but gives you free amber. Gaining 4 off the bat is good. So Too Much to Protect steals all but 6 amber, but he needs to steal 1 more here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, there we go. Routine Job steals 1. Routine Job steals 2. Oh, Routine Job might be winning the game for Yakub right now. Poison Wave comes down, and all of a sudden, Max has gone from being on check to having 2 amber remaining, and Yakub sitting there with 9 amber. I think this might be the end, ladies and gentlemen. This might be the end. I don't know how we get back from this. Now, to be fair, he has gone through his deck, so he might have a Too Much to Protect or an Effervescent Principle. But he needs one of those cards in the worst way. Because as it stands at the moment, Yakub's got 9 amber. Max has got 2. Max has got to get rid of 4 amber here just to keep the game going. And if he can't, that's it. That routine, 4 copies of Routine Job turns out really good. So Library of Babel draws a card. Does he have the Effervescent Principle? Effervescent Principle would get rid of 4 amber. That would be enough. And I think he's gone through his deck, and I believe it's still in his deck. There's nothing on board he can use now. It's all down to what's in his hand. Doc Bugton goes down. He reaps to draw a card. Is it Effervescent Principle? It's Wild Wormhole. Will this get him Effervescent Principle? No, it's a Dodger. Will this get him Effervescent Principle? It's another Wild Wormhole. Come on, I think that's the only... Oh, it's a Doc Bookton and it doesn't come into play active. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Digging for the effervescent principle. That's the only thing that could keep him in the game. Max is unable to find it and Jakob takes the victory. Oh, that's so sad. Even if he'd hit too much to protect off the wild wormhole, he still would have needed to steal one more amber. He was digging for that effervescent principle. It would have kept him in the game, but unfortunately, he drew a card with Library of Babel. He drew one with Doc Bookton that came down active because of the speed sigil. He played 2 wild wormhole. He did everything that he could, and he was just unable to do it, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations to Max. That was a really... Sorry, commiserations to Max. Sorry. That was a very hard-fought game. Congratulations to Jakob. That, ladies and gentlemen, was a lot of fun to watch. A really back-and-forth game. A very exciting end. But I suppose one player had to lose. Remember, this is Archon Survival. Each player brings 3 decks. When you lose, your deck is eliminated. When you lose with all 3 decks, you are eliminated. You have to set your deck order at the beginning of the tournament. And then you have to stick to it. So when your deck gets knocked out, you just move to your next deck. But the deck with which you finish day 1 is the deck with which you play day 2. So that leads to some very interesting decisions as you get close to day 2, trying to manipulate to get the deck you want into day 2, because day 2 is single elimination. Huge shout out to the lovely folks from Crazy Killing Machine for allowing us to use the footage. Those guys rock. Make sure you check them out. If you're on YouTube, I'll put a link to their channel in the description. And yeah, we're done for this round, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're on YouTube, comment, like, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. Do what you will. And I will see you guys for the next round. Cheers for watching. Look after yourselves till next time. Bye.